Sequence is a fun board game where players try to score sequences or series of 5 chips in the same color on the board. Sequence can be played with 2 to 12 players. If there are more than 3 players, players must split up into teams. There can only be up to 3 teams, and each team must have the same number of players. Start the game by having each player cut the deck of sequence cards. Whoever gets the lowest card deals first, aces or high. The dealer shuffles the cards and deals them out to all of the players. The number of cards each player gets depends on whether you're playing a 2-player 2-team game or a 3-player 3-team game, as well as how many players there are. For a 2-player 2-team game with 2 players, each player gets 7 cards. With 4 players, each player gets 6 cards. With 6 players, each player gets 5 cards. With 8 players, each player gets 4 cards. And with 10 or 12 players, each player gets 3 cards. For a 3-player 3-team game with 3 players, each player gets 6 cards. With 6 players, each player gets 5 cards. With 9 players, each player gets 4 cards. And with 12 players, each player gets 3 cards. After the dealer deals everyone their cards, the player to their left goes first. On a player's turn, they start by choosing a card from their hand and playing it face up in front of them in their own personal discard pile. Then, they place a marker chip of their color or their team's color on the matching card space on the board. Each card has 2 matching spaces on the board, except for jacks, and players can place their marker on either one as long as it's not already taken. 2-eyed jacks are wild and 1-eyed jacks are anti-wild. If a player plays a 2-eyed jack, they can place a marker on any space on the board. If they play a 1-eyed jack, they can remove an opponent's marker from any space, unless the marker is already part of a finished sequence. Players also have the option of playing a dead card in their hand and drawing a new card from the deck instead of playing a marker on the board. A dead card is a card that no longer has any available matching spaces on the board. Players finish their turn by drawing a new card from the deck. Play continues clockwise around the table until one player or team scores 2 sequences for a 2-player 2-team game, or 1 sequence for a 3-player 3-team game. A sequence is a series of 5 chips in the same color going up, down, across, or diagonally on the board. Whichever player or team completes their sequences first wins the game.